Thank you so much for cooperating today and your valuable time to share your insights about current situation back in UK. So, よろしくお願いします。Yes. Yes. So let's start off by introducing ourselves. My name is Naming. I'm from CareerFly. I'm a career counselor and I took care of international candidates. And nice to meet you.
My name is Daniel Brown. I'm currently a graduate student at Oxford University. I'm studying for an MSc in Japanese studies, looking mainly at Japanese literature, Japanese grammar, classical forms of Japanese.
I see, I see. That's interesting. How many years have you been learning Japanese so far, or your interest in Japan?
I guess maybe about 8.
8? Wow,
yeah.
That's long. Wow, 8 years. That's me. 4 years I've been interested in Japanese culture and yes, language. So you've been studying double than my time. That's amazing. Okay, great. So first, today I would like to discuss about your current situation back in UK. How is the current situation? Are lockdown/quarantine are being implemented? How is it so far?
So currently we're in a kind of stage where we're gradually moving out of lockdown. We've moved kind of from this stage of stay at home, save lives, protect the NHS to stay alert, control the virus. So currently we're now allowed to see 6 other people outside. 6 other people, where before it was only kind of, well, it wasn't anybody really. And then moved to just 1 other person. And now it's about 6 other people. You can meet in a group, but it has to be outside.
Okay.
What the government is aiming towards doing by kind of July is, I think July 4th, is kind of reopening pubs and things.
Mm-hmm.
And non-essential shops have now returned to business.
Okay.
Social distancing rules in place, but we're gradually easing out of it.
Okay. How are the infection numbers? Have they been decreasing so far?
They are gradually decreasing. We currently stand at about 300,000 cases, just of that. What's quite interesting is that although it's very easy to find the number of infected cases, the data for that is very easily available. It's actually more difficult to find the number of people who have recovered. I'm not quite sure why that is. They're not kind of published in the same way.
I see.
They're not as readily available. I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe it's to keep the population feeling more anxious and make it more difficult.
Maybe. Oh, I see. You mentioned about the quarantine has been sort of easily being loosened. How long has UK or the area that you're living in so far been under lockdown?
Well, it started in the middle of March.
March. Okay.
So yeah, a good amount of time now.
Yeah, that's been quite long. I see. So how is the sort of like a government's perspective on it right now? Of course, being, implementing stay home, stay alive slogans, and are they implementing any sort of support system for the citizens, sort of like financial support or any kind of life support?
Yep, so there's the furlough scheme, which people can apply for, who have kind of, been put on kind of temporary leave because of quarantine, because of the lockdown. And that is meant to supply about 80% of the person's wage.
80%?
About 80%. But only certain people can apply for that. I think it's a little more complicated for people who are perhaps self-employed. Some self-employed people can apply for the scheme, but it depends on how much they earn and how long they've been self-employed for. Who've recently become self-employed, I don't think can apply for it. They have to have a lot of paperwork and accounts from the previous tax year. So if they've, say, just become self-employed in January, and then have lost all of their work kind of from March onwards, then they're not actually eligible to apply for that.
Oh, that's too bad.
So
What are the other options for self-employed people out there?
unfortunately, I guess there's not an awful lot that they can do
Oh,
if they're in that situation,
mhm.
which I guess is just an oversight on part of the government.
I see. That's a little unfortunate. I remember here the same situation was happening for self-employed people in Japan too. They have not been receiving much support from the government financially as well. So I guess it's not only Japan or UK problem. I guess it's everywhere for
Yeah,
self-employed people. I see.
they're trying to
I,
implement a system kind of in
I
a
see.
short space of time. People don't really have a really
Okay. I also mhm. I also remember that some countries people or the government has been sort of easing or maybe like with the payment of the insurance or like tax and citizen tax, etc. Those payments were pushed back for further dates as well. Has it been the same in UK or?
Yes, I think there's also that kind of support with kind of mortgage payments and things um,
Okay.
not having to be paid for.
Okay.
But
I see.
so yeah, I
I
think there's
see.
understanding for people in
Great.
difficult situations in that regard.
I see. So how are, like people are reacting in this current situation? I'm guessing people have already gotten used to whole quarantine lifestyle as well as furlough, etc. with very short amount of time. How are people's reaction? How are they, receiving this?
Now I think people have come to terms with it.
Mhm.
Obviously, we're hearing this phrase "new normal" all over the world.
Yeah.
That's now become, I think, a loan word in Japanese as well.
Yeah.
I read it in the papers, Japanese papers sometimes. So I think people have gradually become used to it, but
Yeah.
initially, and I guess maybe even now, still there is a backlash against it. There are still conspiracy theories. People don't entirely believe that
Oh.
thing, um, but less so now.
Okay.
Initially, there are a lot of people who thought, as soon as they're being told to stay inside, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
I think British people in general are quite contrarian. So if you tell them to do something, then they'll immediately say, no.
Yeah. Why, right?
So
Yes.
there was more of a backlash in the beginning.
Okay.
Now people have really realized the severity of the situation, um,
Okay.
coming to terms with it.
I see. Yeah, same here as well. There were a lot of panic here,
Mm,
a lot of anxiousness, a lot of fear mongering as well. There were a lot of false information on the internet, and they tend to believe in it, so they were stocking up on toilet papers and like all the other stuff where it had to limit one item to one person here. I think it's still the same here as well for limiting like toilet papers and some items in supermarkets for stock managing. So how is it there so far in the supermarket shelves?
yeah, so we had the same situation. I'm actually in a different part of the country now from where I was when things started. So I
Yeah.
was in Oxford before, and I've now moved down to Somerset. I'm about
Hmm.
2 hours further into the countryside. Um,
Okay.
the situations are a bit different. I was in Oxford when things kicked off, and in the same way that things happen in Japan, the supermarket shelves
Yeah.
was bare, and that was very scary. I tried to remain quite calm because as soon as you
Yeah.
see a bare shelf, then you yourself want to go and buy everything that's
Yes.
left.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so it took a lot of willpower just to actually say, no, if I don't buy as many things, I'll just buy what I need. Then there'll be more for other people.
Mhm.
But then I guess after a month or so, things started looking kind of better stocked.
I
Um,
see.
and down here
So,
on the side,
mhm,
things are fairly calm. There's
I
less
see.
to
That's
talk
great.
to everyone.
Okay. For here, I still can't find like certain items on the supermarket shelves right now, such as like masks.
Oh,
I
really?
can't find them. Unless it's, those cotton ones where you can like wash and reuse it again. But if it's like disposable masks, I still can't find them in a lot of like supermarkets. How is it there? Are people wearing masks or, wearing like handmade mask or?
In Oxford, there are a lot of people wearing handmade masks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Down here in the countryside, uh, I mean, I can go for a walk and not really see anyone. So I think
Mm-hmm.
aren't really necessary um, down in this part of the country.
Okay.
There's not really anyone around to bump into. But more people were making homemade masks. When I was in Oxford, I wore a mask.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I think because the UK doesn't have a mask wearing culture, then people have
Definitely, definitely.
wearing them.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the mask was only really introduced in Japan after the Spanish flu. So maybe we'll see the same thing happen here where it becomes more of a norm.
Okay, definitely. How about like, entering public spaces? You don't have to wear a mask or how is that regulation?
So I think just recently masks have been made compulsory on public transport.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if that's just London um,
Okay.
or rest of the whole country as well. But I think there's definitely been some confusion surrounding the kind of government's opinion on whether and the World Health Organization's opinion
Yeah,
on
yeah,
whether should be wearing masks. So I
exactly.
the British public have looked to the government and then seen kind of confusion and then not really been sure what to do. But now the advice is a bit more clear that people should be wearing masks.
Yeah.
Um,
But is there a shortage in masks there?
I would probably say yes, they're harder to find
Mhm.
because they're just not something that we tend to
Yeah.
have in the same way. I remember trying to buy one on Amazon and it was very expensive and it was going to take.
Oh my God. Might as well just make your own then, right? Yes, yes. I see. Wow. Here also, I mean, the same as Japan, it have like mask wearing culture. So I guess in terms of stocks, I believe they're making it, but it's just people are hoarding it or people buying it to, sell it on Amazon for double the prices or so, which is also very hard for people to like find masks. And then as for in entering public spaces, we have to wear masks and also sanitize our hands. Where there's like a hand sanitizer bottle at the entrance, all public spaces really. So we have to hand sanitize. And then at the supermarkets, there are like plastic sheets for the cashiers to sort of block I guess the airways for the customer as well. How are those in UK for supermarkets, etc.?
Yeah, so we have those kind of similar things. We've got hand sanitizer in supermarkets, the screens in front of the checkout. Um, they also started kind of putting down bits of tape to mark
Right, right.
2 meter distances.
Yeah.
So you could tell how far away from people you were, and you kind of
Uh,
waited in little blocks.
Does that mean that like there are, like a lot of lines for public spaces to enter?
Yeah, it becomes a bit difficult when you
Yeah.
enter a very market. Things take a lot longer. Um,
Yeah.
but I think mm, more recently people have become a bit less cautious in the supermarket.
Oh, really?
Before they might have kind of stayed within their little kind of section.
Yeah.
They're a bit more willing to kind of move past you if you're not
Yeah.
moving quite quickly enough.
Oh, wow, that's funny. I mean, here too, they also put like tapes on the ground to implement social distancing. But as the streets of Japan and Tokyo is like relatively small, so the line just goes like long like a snake, and it's like super hard and super long to go inside one's stores, which is sometimes really frustrating.
Yeah,
Yeah, I understand a lot.
give up on their shopping, and then that has an effect.
Yeah, exactly. I also saw some, I think some teachers, maybe kindergarten teachers or so, or maybe English teachers, they were wearing face shields, as well as barbers. They were wearing face shields when they were working. I just like glimpsed it a little bit, which is also, I guess, implementing in some places as well.
I haven't seen anyone wear a face shield yet in the
Yeah.
UK, and I'm not sure if, well, that's because they're just not available, and if they are available, then they're not going to supermarkets.
Yeah.
Going to
Yes,
hospitals.
exactly. I see. So, you know, since it's quite stressful and not so nice times, how are people, you know, taking care of themselves to feel better? Like, how are they, you know, de-stress in UK? Do they have like any things that you guys do? Do you like to feel better about the situation?
So I think, well, up until now, it's kind of fading away. But every Thursday at 8 o'clock, there was kind of a pan banging
Ah, really?
to thank all of the key workers and the
Yeah.
NHS workers. And
Okay.
so people kind of come out, stand in front of their door, bang a pan for about 5 minutes. And I think that has been quite cathartic for people
Mhm.
and feels like something that they can do as a community.
I see.
So I think that has helped people feel better in some sense. Also, I mean, for British people, the biggest way to kind of release stress is to go to the pub.
Yeah.
And can't do that now.
Yeah.
Then I guess just drinking online with your friends, but also having a pub quiz as well. There are lots of people, because that's something that British people like to do, is go to the pub on a Sunday. So it's just a quiz that happens in a pub.
Okay.
Go with your friends, you make a team, and then usually the owner of the pub, the landlord or the landlady, has prepared a quiz
Oh.
with lots of different rounds, and then the winning team usually wins maybe some money or some drinks. But these kinds of things are happening online now. So
That's fine.
people
That's
still
also
find
maybe even easier for quizzes to be online because a lot of many other people can participate in it as well. That's also fun. Uh, that's funny. That's interesting. Yeah. Oh, okay. I see. All right. What else? So how did your day-to-day life changed or, you know, so far, um, back in, you know, March versus now? Has it changed so far, or has it been like not really different?
Yeah, personally, I'm a student, so I
Yeah.
stay indoors and I read most of the day. So
Yeah.
in that sense, personally, my day-to-day life hasn't changed that much.
Mm-hmm.
I think in general, it's obviously everything has changed really.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's just most noticeable is just this underlying sense of kind of fear and anxiety and
Yeah.
kind of
Mm-hmm.
there's always lower level anxiety or paranoia about, whether what you're doing is um, infecting yourself or infecting other people. Um, so I think in that sense, just the way we've come to see our daily day-to-day lives has changed completely because it's now
Yeah.
underwritten by anxiety. um,
Exactly.
so I think, yeah, everything has changed.
Yes, definitely. And also, since you're a student, you were, I guess, like looking into, you know, job hunting and, you know, securing a permanent position at a certain organization. How's that, you know, affected you so far or your peers?
Yes, so I'm looking for work in Japan, actually.
Yeah.
I used to work in Japan in Kyushu, uh,
Oh,
Board of Education in Oita Prefecture
okay.
as an English teacher. So my wife is in Japan and my son is in Japan.
Oh, okay.
So I was only here for this year and I'm going
Oh
back.
no. I see.
So I'm looking for work in Japan at the moment.
Yeah.
Uh, there was a career forum that was meant to take place in London, which is, I think, one of the biggest career forums for kind of bilingual kind of job hunters. And that was cancelled. It moved online.
Ah, okay.
And I mean, the job hunting process in Japan is already very complicated.
Exactly. Yes.
Than it's in the UK, you know, with your kind of setsumekai, and then you've got the first round, second round, maybe you've got to take
Yes, yes.
the eye test and everything like that. So just kind of throwing the sudden, okay, now everything has to be online element made it infinitely more difficult.
Yes.
I mean, the effect it had on me was just, well, it's just so tricky now. I felt completely apathetic about it.
Oh.
It makes you want to give up, you know?
Yes, yes.
So yes, things are becoming more difficult. And just in general, I think employers in Japan are very reluctant to take anyone on from overseas because they might not be able to secure a visa.
Yes, yes.
So my impression is that as soon as you say, I'm in the UK looking for work in Japan, the employer say, never mind.
Because of I guess the entry ban, a lot of companies are reluctant to, you know, be okay with foreign talent. So I completely understand what you mean. So yes, yes, I see. How about for example, let's say in UK with your peers or with your classmates, are they still looking for jobs in UK? How is that in your country wise?
So a lot of my classmates are from overseas as well.
Okay.
It's a kind of diverse cohort, so people
Yeah.
from all over the world. A few people from the UK who are looking for work in Japan as well.
Yeah.
I think more people are now considering maybe pursuing a PhD or trying to stay within the university.
Okay.
I've also applied for work in the UK,
Yeah.
and in a few instances, what has happened is I've received an email saying we're postponing the application process.
Okay.
And then, well, either it's still being postponed or they just haven't got back in touch.
So basically, they just also froze their hiring process as well. Okay.
Yeah, that's what it's like.
Yes, similar as in here in Japan too. Even whether it's foreign recruiting or in Japan recruiting, because of the project wise or the next work position, they're all sort of very slow with their hiring process, and also the remote work situation in Japan, which is very very new. It's like almost first thing in the like in their history of working. So remote working is also a good initiative, but it's also making some recruiters like work really slow because they're not used to it and they don't know what to do otherwise. Because they work in teams, they need to get a lot of confirmation from other teams, other works as well. So definitely it's similar here in Japan as well. I see. I remember in reading in the news that a lot of Americans lost their job in America, due to COVID-19. There were such a big number. How is the, unemployment affected by COVID-19 in UK so far?
Yeah, I think unemployment has obviously definitely increased by about maybe 10% or something. So big numbers, people losing their jobs.
I see.
And I guess just tying into the recruitment question again, why would a company hire anyone when they've, laid off their workforce already?
Yes.
And if they start hiring again, then it seems like they would just rehire the people that they had before, perhaps.
Yeah, I see.
I think it's going to be. I think I'm perhaps quite fortunate because I've already got a good amount of work experience under my belt, but I really feel for people who are just graduating.
Yes, definitely. and also with the other like industry wise, for example, travel industry, customer service industry, they're being hit the most as well. But on the other hand, in Japan, I would say, for example, like chatbots, like AI developing is soaring because everything has shifted into digital, and every company needs to have their website. Every company wants to have their chatbots and like to uh, take care of their like many inquiries. So in that case, that domain has been like soaring so far that I see. How about in UK, do you think? Of course, a lot of industry has been like hit a lot, but is there any like a positive change in certain domains?
That's a good question. I mean, just speaking from my own experience,
Yeah.
it's made me reconsider the direction I want to take my career in.
Mm,
And so I've been trying to, over the past few months, set up my own translation business. So just
yeah.
something you can do from home.
Yeah.
Um, so I imagine a lot of people are feeling a similar way. I
Mm,
couldn't really say, I couldn't name any sectors just off the top of my head, but I
yeah.
imagine they're going through kind of similar thought processes where they think they're reconsidering their careers, and maybe considering a career which is going to be more secure, or they're taking this time to develop the skills to
Mhm.
move into a different career, one which isn't going to be affected by potential kind of future pandemics, one that they can do from home.
Yes, yes. I hear that, there are more pandemics to come soon. And coronavirus is just the beginning, I guess, which is kind of sad to hear, really. But I believe a lot of people need to, I guess, prepared and like sort of um, need to think about their own career for like stability wise, I guess. And it's also great that you have taken the initiative to start your own translating business. That's amazing. How is it so far?
Yeah, it's going well. I'm doing some voluntary translation as well as some paid translation work. So I'm doing some translation work for the Federation, the International Federation of Aromatherapists, and that's been, uh, in some cases, COVID related.
Okay, okay. Interesting, interesting. Okay. But what kind of career were you looking into before you started your own business so far? When you were
So
looking
I
to work
wanted
in
to
Japan?
work within local government, um,
Yeah,
with so the JET program, which I was on before.
yeah.
I worked as an English teacher before, and then I applied for a position as a coordinator for international relations, um, which would work within the kind of prefecture offices. Unfortunately, I didn't get the position, um,
Uh,
which
okay.
I was quite upset about,
Uh,
because I
okay.
worked kind of for a long time towards that position.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just the way things go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what
I
forced me in
see.
a direction.
I
I mean,
see.
translation is something that I've always enjoyed. My dissertation involves an extended translation of a book, well, two chapters from a book called Tales of France by a writer called Nagai Kafu. So it's
Oh,
something that I've always enjoyed.
that's amazing. But I mean, maybe it's just silly for me to say, but since you've enjoyed translation and you even wrote your dissertation about translation, maybe it makes more sense to start your own business about translation business.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, yes. Great. Thank you so much for, sharing your insights, sharing your situation, as well as your information about anything that is happening in UK. Um, and would you like to add something else for our viewers later on to be uploaded to our channel?
Um, I don't know specifics. This. I
Okay.
guess sort of your viewers are perhaps job seekers, so
Yes,
um,
yes.
I'm in the same position, so I feel all of your pain, and
Yeah.
things will pick up eventually, and everyone looking for work in Japan will eventually be able to find it and
Yes.
move over. So just everyone stay strong, you know.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much for sharing your time as well as your information. And Yes, hope to see you in Japan as well in the future. Definitely. So thank you so much. All right.
Okay,
So thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
bye.